What is going on, guys? We are back for another DSP video. Today was an interesting day, I'll just leave it at that. The mental breakdown on the level 1 bitch fest continues. We start off in the chat. We have Fox Mulder. Derek was awful last night with the spamming. DSP, why on earth haven't you muted him yet? You can literally stop someone from showing up in chat if they bother you. Yeah, because that's the solution, not just, ban Derek because he's a sex pest, he's bugging everyone, he's making people leave, Phil. And then Wade, LOL, that's what I did, it's easy to do. And we have this from Good Chemicals. DSP opens his podcast explaining that he'll be wearing spring/summer style clothing until the fall. He will not be wearing sweaters. He says he upped his clothing game, shopping at discount stores. No, Phil. It's all because LTG's work on your sexy comment. He switches between saying his shirts are not new and brand new. So DSP watched the Fallout TV show, loved it, and then found out there's a PS5 Xbox Series version of Fallout 4 coming out. And guess what? He wants to play it. That is right, the man that complained about RPG overload now wants to play Elden Ring, Fallout 4, and Final Fantasy VI at the same time. Man, if there's only one connection these games would have, some sort of overload connection. Then he decided to open up the suggestion box because he had nothing for news today. We have it in Otter Place. First suggestion box item is to turn on comments on videos that have them turned off. Immediately, he talks about the trolls, copyright strikes, and getting swatted. Then of course, this leads into a huge rant about detractors. Yet again, I believe this is the third day in a row. We got poems here. Start of rant. Message says his hater movement started because he made fun of Kojima. 20 minutes later, he's now telling people we all know his haters started due to him making fun of Kojima. 10 minutes later, he's saying he always had haters even before the Sons of Kojima. Make it make sense, Phil. Then he went on to say, DSP did nothing to deserve being hated, and the people who hate him only do it because he's a meme now. No, it's because you're a scumbag who scams people, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on WWE champions, while crying broke saying you have no food in the house, being an absolute scumbag of a husband, of a human being. I mean, you're not really a human being, you're like an alien. And we have Roxas, beg online, making one-sided feuds with other content creators, mistreated your ex-friends and girlfriends, mistreat your wife and pet, make money off the work of others, won't leave the internet, takes memes seriously. Yeah, people really don't hate you for that, don't they, Phil? Then Phil went on to say that he can't get sponsorship opportunities because of the trolls. But he also said he doesn't want to get sponsorship because he doesn't want to be a shill. But at the same time, he gets them all the time, but he can't get them because of the trolls. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Poems. DSP trolls ruined all the opportunities in life.
Do I think that having trolls might be a positive thing? No. I don't even have to read the rest of your comment because there's these very weird people on the internet that are like troll sympathizers or troll apologists. And they have this very bizarre fucking theory that having trolls is a good thing because it gives you attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter what people say. I can wholeheartedly tell you this right now. No. Having attention in general is not a good thing. You want positive attention in life. You don't want attention by any means necessary. Even though there are some content creators out there that think that, oh, the only way I can get attention is negative, so I'll just do drama shit. It's stupid. I'll give you some examples. If I didn't have a bunch of trolls stalking me at every movement, I could actually have some sponsors. I could actually have some products that I believe in that I could actually have on this stream that would actually, either pay me or have like those referral programs. And I would have additional income that would allow me to do things like take more days off a week and spend more time with my family or maybe go on a honeymoon. And I can't do those things because I have a toxic cloud following me around that no matter how I behave, they say I'm the devil. So if I were to ever get a sponsorship, I would lose it because they would harass the sponsor and the sponsor would leave. That's something that people without a troll base don't have. Literally, there are people way smaller than me that have sponsorships. People who get you know, 100 people on a stream, people with tiny Twitter followings, people with channels with like 20,000 subscribers have sponsorships that I can't get because of my troll base. You understand? People with tiny Twitter followings, people with channels with like 20,000 subscribers have sponsorships that I can't get because of my troll base. You understand? Again, I'll say this. Out of the 99%, the 99% of people who watch me, okay? Excuse me, let me say that again. Out of all the people that watch me or know of me, 99% of them hate me. 1% of the people who know of me give me a shot and realize I'm not the devil and actually like, wait a minute. A lot of the stuff that they say about Phil is completely false. It's just done for the narrative of making content and monetizing it, right? But almost no one gives me a shot. So right now, if I didn't have a toxic troll base, even though I might be a small-time YouTuber, I would still be able to do things like collabs. Imagine if I could actually show up on someone's podcast talking about gaming instead of controversies around me. Imagine if the side scrollers wanted to interview me, but it was because they had a hot topic of something going on in gaming and they wanted me to be part of a panel to contribute. Instead of, let's just talk about all the nasty, controversial things your detractors say for 5 hours. But no, that's the life I have to live because I have trolls. If I didn't have trolls, things would be a lot better for me and my family. Okay? There is zero justification for the things they've said or done. Nothing that they have done has swayed towards the positive side versus the negative. I would be much better off if the troll, I would be prominent on YouTube. I never would have had a "this is how you don't play" movement that would have been so toxic. I wouldn't have gotten swatted. My channel wouldn't have had millions of views deleted and taking it out of the YouTube algorithm. Like, there's a zillion things that trolls have done that are exponentially worse than the few trickled people in here who came in as a result of watching troll content and maybe now like me. Okay? Listen, I'll take it as it is. There's nothing I can really do about it, right? But essentially, I know for a fact that trolls have fucked with my life endlessly and continue to do so, by the way. Just because I don't actively talk about it all the time doesn't mean that they're not actively trying to fuck me over in ways you would never even believe if I told you, okay? They're fucked up, obsessed weirdos. And it's messed up the extent that they go for absolutely nothing. So basically, yeah, no, you're completely wrong, insanely off base. Like, not even wrong, you're insanely wrong. You're like, one of the most incorrect statements to be made on this planet would be, oh, isn't it probably a good thing you have trolls? No, absolutely fucking not. If I didn't have trolls, I could literally be double the profitability that I have right now, seen in a positive light, seen as someone who could be part of an online internet community and not hated on constantly, right? There's so many things that would be better for me if I didn't have trolls.
You can tell how detached from reality this guy is. He's thinking that if he didn't have trolls, basically anyone that criticizes him, he would be a prominent figure on YouTube. He would be positively regarded. Oh, definitely, he is already regarded. And he'd making a lot more money. Delusions of grandeur. And of course, whenever we talk about Phil's downfall and him losing money and supporters and people laughing at him, it always comes back to "this is how you don't play." And whenever he talks about "this is how you don't play," it always comes back to the godfather, the detractor community, EvilAJ. And he talks about how if it wasn't for EvilAJ, the scumbag, he would be at the top of YouTube. And then he goes on this insane rant about last year or the year before, about how he wanted to react to "this is how you don't play." EvilAJ at first gave him permission and then rescinded it, and then DSP said that's not how it works. Basically saying, once you give me permission, you can't take it back. That's not how that works, Phil. But we got this from Duty. EvilAJ, you never told me you were a scumbag. I'm deeply saddened you did not disclose this to
react to "this is how you don't play" Metal Gear Solid 2 last year, 2 years ago now. EvilAJ tried to take it off the internet. Yeah, he literally tried to hide the video. He's like, oh, I don't want him to do that. Well, wait a minute, hold on. It's either it's good for everyone or it's good for no one. If you're allowed to do it, then I'm allowed to do it too. You don't get to be an asshole and hide your content because you're a scumbag to me. Which is the truth, is that the guy's a scumbag to me, right? So, someone else had already archived it and sent it to me, and I reacted to it anyway. He couldn't hide it, and there was nothing he could do about it, okay? Plus, what's hilarious about the situation was months earlier, he had outright given permission on his Twitter account for me to react to it. And then he tried to rescind it later. It doesn't work like that. So anyway, that was the one I ever did. And after that, I was like, do I really want to get into this whole problem now with reacting to content and people saying that they don't want me to do it and arguing and everything? Legally, do I have a right to do it? Yes. Do I want to fight with every motherfucker out there who's just a little brat who thinks they can do whatever they want and I'm not allowed to do the same thing? No, I don't want to be arguing with every little brat on the internet. So that's why I basically stopped doing it. I was like, you know, I did the one. I actually had a good time, but I really don't want to waste my time arguing with children, because that's literally what they are. They're adult children. They're like babies inside of adult bodies because they're just idiots with the way that they act. Okay, so there you go. Now, as for the Turkey Tom documentary, again, this is something where if I'm going to react to something, I want to be sure that at the very least the person on the other end is not malicious in their intention, okay? And they're not trying to purposefully create an endless cycle of drama for personal benefit, okay? I was actually strongly considering doing an interview with Turkey Tom after his documentary about me, until I did a little bit of research and I found out some of the really disgusting things that he had said on the internet about people, including me. Things like, oh, I just can't wait to milk this person, or I'm milking them more for content. Man, I love it when they comment, I wish that they would just react to my documentary so I could get more, I could milk them further. And it's like, what? I mean, seriously, that's so fucking vile to say something like that, and just casually too. Like, oh, it's just a casual statement I would make on the internet. It's fine.
Then Phil was talking about how everyone hates him and this and that. We have Poem's feature, Philip. You can do that if you want. The problem is that you either pretend like you're not looking things up when you are, or you just give up and make the chat play the game for you. The problem isn't who you are, it's how you act.
I was watching a guy on YouTube stream Dragon's Dogma 2. He literally was speedrunning a quest just to get to a boss fight in the game, skipping all of the dialogue of this quest. He couldn't figure out how to get there. He had to keep looking it up. Someone asked him, what guide are you using? And he said, Google is my guide. He had a dozen handholders in the chat during the boss fight to basically, you know, push him through and tell him how to do it. I laughed and I thought, damn, if this was DSP, people would have given him so much shit for that. Of course, you know, you have to understand that I, by far, am the exception. Anything that I do is never good enough, right? No matter what, how I play something, how I do it, still awful. I could play a game at the hardest difficulty. Somehow it's still not, you know, it's still too easy, right? Like, no exaggeration, in the last 2 or 3 years, my wife and I have started to watch other YouTubers do playthroughs. We've got 1 or 2 people we watch play from soft games or that style of game. We've got a few people who we watch, and we alternate between playing horror games, action adventure games, sandbox style games. Like I said, we've watched people play games like the Horizon series, Ghost of Tsushima. You know, I keep going. Okay? In every instance, no exaggeration, people who, by the way, are much bigger than me. This is not, oh, I'm watching small time, you know, people. These are people that are decent. They're not huge, but they're not the best, you know, the top of the cream of the crop, but they're kind of, you know, mid to high level people. They probably bring in twice as many viewers as I do. Okay? No kidding. These people 100% do all of that stuff. Their audience comes to the chat and literally spoils games for them, tells them how to do everything. They play it on various different difficulties. Some people insist on the hardest difficulty, but then have their handheld the entire time. So what was the point, right? Like, what the hell? You know, they always have that. You know, for some of them, look at these hippos. For some of them, that's basically the idea of streaming. Like, some of them do offline playthroughs where they have none of that, but when they go online to stream, literally that is their interaction with the chat, is handhold me, right? That's the whole experience. And no one complains. These people have tons of views. These people have absolutely crazy followings, and they make tons of money, and they have sponsorships and partnerships. It's just because I'm Darkside Phil, and I have a toxic following of really disgusting trolls, that nothing that I do will ever be good.
So obviously you can see how jealous he is about the money issue other people make. I don't know if you caught that, but he admitted that his fans handhold him. So after all this time denying it and trying to be intelligent and trying to be smart, he now admits his fans handhold him, just like other people do. in their playthroughs. So he's admitted his addictions, he's admitted his racism, he admitted that his fans are dense and wheelchairs in previous videos. Now he admits he's handholding. I wonder what he'll accidentally admit next time. And DSP has said he wants to talk about the June the King documentary every single day till it releases. Keep in mind, it might not release until fall or later. So we got lots of pre-streams to talk about it. So we got poems. DSP admits June may end up hating his guts for looking into his past, but at least he looked at it from a neutral perspective. You realize what you're saying here, right, Phil? Yeah, if he looked at it as a neutral perspective and he hates you, that's not a good thing, Phil. And then Gout, DSP says he can't drop everything to react to a documentary. Yes, you can. You actually probably get more money doing that than playing a random AAA game. Yeah, he can't drop everything to react to a documentary, but he dropped everything to react to side-scrollers. He dropped everything for co-op gameplay. He dropped everything for a chill with Phil. He dropped everything for Helldivers. But you know, he can't do that. He's got a schedule, dude. Then one of those pathetic things I've ever seen or heard. So this guy tips Phil and says, I don't like how you wait till the end of the show to do shoutouts. Because sometimes I want a tip, but my work calls me away, so I don't get to hear you shout out my tip. Which is absolutely pathetic. And DSP basically says, too bad, fuck you, I do at the end, too bad. And how people are entitled and how they want instant gratification. So you got poems. DSP now hates doing instant gratification shoutouts for tips that come in. It's distracting from his segments. Reminder, the whole premise of why you should tip him now has always been his acknowledges you immediately, unlike other streamers. Then we have this from In an Outer Place, the Level 1 podcast final episode plot reveal. Then you see a bunch of cult members dead on the ground with the Kool-Aid guy there. Then we get to DSP versus the internet. One of the worst performing and worst watched shows of all time. So apparently, Kat applied for the front desk of a hotel, and when she got to the interview, they told her she would actually be running a shuttle back and forth to the airport. Yeah, sorry Phil, not buying that one. The shuttle services are handled by a completely separate company when offered. Not only that, I believe you have to have a license to do that too. And he goes on to say, no hotel is going to risk random employees driving others around like this. It's a liability. The shuttle service will be a separate entity with its own requirements. Yes, that is 100% a lie from Phil's ass. Then we have this from Gout. DSP is using Kat's experience finding jobs as his way of explaining the current job market.
Because over the years that Kat has been in Washington, and she's gone through different jobs and looked for better jobs and stuff. There's been times when, you know, she's applying for different jobs, going to interviews and stuff. And I can tell you a few years ago, there was a situation. There's actually two situations that happened. Here's the first. So she's looking for positions that, you know, she would be qualified for, interested in. And she sees a job posting at a local Best Buy store. Okay? Online. So she applies for it. Okay, interview. Come in for the interview at a certain day. She goes to the store for the interview. First of all, no one can even find the manager who's responsible for interviews. Why? Because these stores don't have hiring managers. They just have managers that are expected to perform interviews who aren't trained for it. So they can't even find the guy who's supposed to be doing the interview. But you told me to come to the store at this time for an interview. How is the person who's supposed to be interviewing me not here or ready for it? It doesn't make sense. So she sits around for a very long time. Upwards of an hour. Finally, this manager appears who's going to interview her. She gets into the interview, and the first question, all right, that's asked is, so what job did you apply for? Wait, what? You're the interviewing manager. You're supposed to be interviewing me for the position. You're asking me what job I applied for? What am I doing here? So she tells, I applied for this position. Oh, I don't have any jobs in that position open. What? This is not a made-up story. This literally happened to my wife. And she's like, why? I don't understand. It was on the site. I applied for it. Well, I don't know about that. but we don't have that job. If you want, you could maybe apply for this job, and I can interview for that now. And she's like, no. Why would I do that? Why? What are you talking about? So the entire thing was a complete waste of her time. She went home completely deflated, thinking that she was going to get a job interview for a job she wanted, and that's how she got treated. That's the American job market. Like, no exaggeration. There was another job she applied for. It was supposed to be for a position, I want to say it was like at a hotel, and it was supposed to be like front desk. So she applies for this hotel position at the front desk. She goes for the interview, and they say, so just so you know, that's actually not really the job. Okay, the job is you're going to be driving a hotel shuttle back and forth from the airport. What? The job position I applied for was front desk. Well, that's really not it. You will be driving a shuttle. Why am I here? It didn't make any sense. And the way that the interviewer kind of pushed it was, well, yeah, 90% of the time you'll be driving the shuttle, but you may be at the front desk at some points if there's no one to drive around. So, but you're going to be driving the shuttle. So this is how these employers in the US are now treating jobs. They basically don't care about the employees. All they care about is getting a big well of information from people, right? And then they lie to get your information, and then they try to basically fool you into a job. Like, for example, what if you're desperate for a job, right? And so you applied at the hotel for front desk, you get into the interview, and they say, it's for the shuttle. Well, I'm desperate for a job, I might as well take it. But you didn't want that job. What if you're not even good at fucking driving? Right? Now you take the job. Or the Best Buy job, for example, I believe what it was, she was applying for, like, you know, someone working on the floor, maybe in electronics. And they said, well, no, you're going to be a cell phone specialist and only sell cell phones. Well, she doesn't have interest in that. She doesn't know about cell phones that much. She doesn't care for that. Why would she want to work that job? And by the way, isn't it funny, if the job posting is for one job, but you go in, but the actual opening's for another, why is that? Probably because no one wants that job for good reason. And what's funny is now there's websites you can go to online that talk about certain job positions, people who've had them, and after they leave the position, they go online to talk about that job and what it entails. And you'll see people with horror stories. Yeah, so they say it's a cell phone job, but man, it's high pressure. You got to sell cell phones. If you don't, you get yelled at. It's commission-based, so you don't get a lot of money unless you're constantly selling. They literally tell you to attach things to every sale, and if you don't, basically you get in trouble for it, or you make like no money. So essentially, just lie to the customer and tell the customer they need something that they don't need, so that you'll make a sale, a tack on sale. So basically it's junk jobs, right? It's junk jobs where it's just mistreat people, lie to people, just make sales. Who wants those, right? No one. That's why they lie to get you in the door for another position, and then they tell you the other job's the one available. This is what's going on right now in America. Another thing that he mentioned, a lot of the jobs, they look attractive. You apply, you just never hear back. Nothing. Because they're not actually real. They're jobs that maybe once a year they'll need someone new. So I have fucking all this information from all these years that I've accumulated, and then when it's convenient for me, now I'll draw upon it. And I'll give you another. Again, a few years ago, Kat applying around for jobs and stuff. She gets a phone call, I'm not shitting you, 9 months later from when she applied for a job. Are you interested in it? What are you talking about? I applied 9 months ago. Do you think I sat around and didn't work for 9 months? No, I got another job. Of course I'm not interested in it anymore, stupid. But this is what they do. They're posting up, because here's how it used to be. It used to be, to apply for a job, you had to physically go to the place. You had to meet with the people who work there. You would take a physical application. You would fill it out. You would put it there physically. That's work, right? For you and for them. So basically, if they said, oh, we're hiring for an application, they're not going to lie. They actually are hiring, because why else would they want to have to be collecting paper applications and explaining how to fill it out and shit like that? That's work for them. So now, because everything's online and automated, there's no work for them. They can literally have these job postings up indefinitely and have your information sit in a fucking queue for 2-3 years and never touch it. And then when they need it, now it's convenient. Now I pull it out. And now, because everything is automated, there's no hiring managers at the store anymore responsible for the job hiring. Instead, they try to say, oh, by the way, someone applied for the job, so now you have to squeeze in an interview today. What are you talking about? I'm here for 10 hours today, and the 10 hours I'm here, I got this to do, and this to do. Well, too bad. Now I'll just do the interview, too. And by the way, they're coming in at 2 p.m. Be ready. Wait, what? So how am I supposed to do that? That's how it is in American jobs now. These retail jobs, restaurant jobs, hotel chains, they're all like that. There's no professionalism anymore. It's just treat it like everyone gets fucked around and jerked around, including the employees there. Can you imagine how the manager feels? I have to do my normal managerial duties for the day. Oh, by the way, I also have to be a hiring manager today too, even though I have no training for it. What the fuck is that? That's America, folks. That's when you go to the news and the news says, oh, all these jobs were created this month. No, they weren't. The news is lying. These jobs either don't exist or these flaky fuck jobs that no one wants. That's what they're reporting is the new jobs that are being created in our economy. It's bunk. Our country is not any better off than it was just a few years ago. It's bullshit. It's misreporting for political spin. It's really...
Now, I personally cannot wait for DS Politics so we can get takes like this every single time. I also can't wait till his career crashes and burns and is dead completely, and he has to apply to these jobs and figure out what the real world is like. Also, I don't think Kat ever went to these interviews. I think she was over at Tyrone's getting piped down. Then, DSP complains about California's new $20 minimum wage. By the way, in June or July, it's going to be $20 in Renton, Washington as well. It's already $19.97 in Seattle. So, this is going to affect him more than he thinks. He said he'll save it for DS Politics, where fast food and hot political takes collide. Then as of late, DSP has been snapping on Derek. Derek, I already said goodbye to you. You don't have to spam it. Derek, stop spamming the chat. Derek, stop. Derek, stop. And then Derek clapped back. This is the scary part. This might be the start of his serial killer arc. Derek Ip, at DSPGAMING. Don't ignore me next time, okay? That gives me chills up and down my spine. He's gonna wear Phil like a skin suit. But then again, I don't give a fuck what happens to Phil. And we have Raphael. I mean, he just had a take on overcrowded prisons in Brazil. Literally, if the conditions are so bad, why do they commit crime, dude? So that cements my assertion that him being 32 physically has no reflection on his maturity. Then we have Theo. DSP is called the American prison system as cushy. OMG, then saying people in Brazil should just try to stop committing crimes and not go to prison. DSP, please just think for a second before you make statements like this. And then Poems. DSP solution for being beaten by cops. Just stop resisting. Then we have a video here showing off Phil's awesome reacting skills. Let's take a look at this.
Get into my phone, sir.
Not reaching.
Stop. I'm just reaching in your pocket. My phone, sir. Okay, dude. No, you don't gotta be turned. Help me.
What is going on
Help me.
with these fucking people?
Then we got a great quote from Phil here. Theo puts out, according to DSP, saying Merry Christmas is like saying Happy Holidays. Dude, you got that reversed. Then of course, DSP Reacts was failing just like every other day. He had two people that tipped him. A $12 tip and a $10 tip. That's it. And it came from people like Adam. We all know who Adam is. So In and Outer Place puts this out. You have 60 minutes to give me at least another $10, which would bring him to the $50 tier 1 goal.
All right, thank you again for being a great audience. Last hour, which means last chance to support the stream if you would like to, and it would be great if you would. Again, really, this channel is viable for two reasons: memberships and the support I get during the live streams. So if you could support the channel in some way today, membership would be great. Super chat or tip would also be great. My goal is to hit the $50 tips goal by the end of the stream. We got an hour left.
Then we get to DSP Throwback. So remember when DSP kept saying he's the most organized person on YouTube? He always puts things in a playlist. Well, he had to get someone else to put all the Walking Dead videos in a playlist for him to react to. We got Poems. DSP had to use a fans created playlist just to watch his old Walking Dead series tonight. He couldn't find all the videos on his old channel because of how disorganized they are on it. And then one of the dumbest things this year so far on DSP Throwback, Meow blocked here. According to DSP, subtitles were rare in video games up to about 12 years ago. Now he was talking about how Walking Dead was one of the first ones to ever do it.
So
Again, I just want to say the genius of this game, because up to this point, most games, you would be lucky to even have subtitles in a game like 12 years ago. And if they were there, typically a lot of them were very hard to read. In this game, they made every subtitle a different color for a different character. So you can know immediately who is speaking based off the color of the subtitle. I like that a lot. And then other games later on followed suit and added that as an actual accessibility option where you could set, you know, different colors for characters, and then it stands out. You don't get confused, and that's very, very much appreciated. So
Then we have this from Gamerface Gaming. Phil never changes.
Shot him right in his head.
see. Oh, there we go. Ooh, let's do it. Stereo. Ooh. Oh, God.
Oh, God. It's a trap. Jesus Christ. Oh, shit.
So that was it for the day. If you guys like that, click that like, share the video, leave a comment below, hit subscribe to my other channels on the details of the end cards. And as always, I love each and every one of you. Hope you're all safe, healthy, and happy. Peace and love.